Good evening. Good to see all of you. For all of you that are soon to be here, of course. I'm gonna do a little box today. Let's see, I'm gonna mark it out actually. Let's be a little bit official about it this evening, huh? What do you say? So, yeah, I didn't want to do too hard of physical work tonight. Just got done with a little run. Got some water, got a little protein, you know. Gonna just kind of walk this evening across the goal line. It's about 8:45 where I am. I'm gonna give myself until about 10 to finish this box. I have an idea for the design that I want, but we're gonna see how it comes out. Should be fun. And there we go. See if my safety center's over here. Should be. May not be. That is just how life is. Got lucky today. And I like to start, I'm using a really long tool rest. I have a shorter one that I should probably be using, but I like to start pretty far back off of the tool, or off of the block, so that I can actually fit the entire length of the tool rest in here, and that way I don't have to go adjusting it up and down. It just is where it's supposed to be. Here we go. Beautiful. All right, let's make it happen. Decide on proportions for the lid. Let's see. Hey, what's going on, Luke? Welcome back. Today, just doing a little box. Trying to, not trying to go at unsafe speed, but trying to get something done reasonably quickly tonight. Let's see. So let's start thinking about proportions here. I think that the 2/3, 1/3 rule is pretty straightforward. So, let's see. So it would be like here-ish, right? So let's. I think that's going to be fine because I think the bottom is going to be sort of like a hollow form a little bit. I'm going to make the opening for the lid pretty small. And then, yeah, I don't know. I have an idea for how I want this one to look. So we'll see. I'm going to put away the rough and gouge. We'll get to it. So remember, we plunge in at double the thickness, so we do a little bit on this side, 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 just to make sure that we don't bind this thing. And then we leave a tiny little bit down there at the very bottom, again, to make sure, because if this thing collapses, it'll pinch the blade, and then it'll rip it right out of my hand, or throw it straight down into the tool rest. Either way, not a ton of fun. And that's maybe overkill on the saw, but I put my small one down and I don't know where, and it'll have to come up when I clean up this weekend. So fingers crossed on that. But if you see it in the background, give it a shout out. I'm accepting literally all help to get organized in here. Alrighty. So we have our two pieces. And not quite 1/3, 2/3, maybe, let's see here. Yeah, maybe left a little bit extra, but I think that's gonna be okay because I'm gonna take this foot off later. So what we're gonna do now is get a chuck on here. And we're gonna open up that lid a little bit. And I'm gonna keep the opening on that lid nice and small today for the piece that I'm turning. Because I think it's going to be kind of a cute little box, I think. We're not going to make maximum use of the material. We're going to waste a little bit, but I think that it is going to be worth it in the end for what we get. So I'll bring it around, show you how the hollowing goes, so you can see from the inside. I always try to keep y'all well lit if possible. Here we are. Yeah, a little less than 1/3, you got it. Just a shade under, I'm not too worried about it. So, yeah, I'm gonna make this top pretty small, this opening anyhow. Let's see, where is my hand gonna be? Freshly sharpened and reprofiled spindle gouge. My 4-year-old was in here with me earlier. He likes to use the vacuum to sweep up the big shavings. And I was showing him the Tormek because I figured it spins slow enough that he can't really get into too much trouble. And so he was asking me to sharpen every single gouge. And I was just thinking, boy, this is great. I haven't done this for myself in forever. See, taking that one super easy with a really, really sharp spindle gouge. I mean, that just makes it so much easier on the end grain. You can see here, virtually no tear out whatsoever. Even around the edge here, most of what I got was like a scorch mark, so that's perfectly fine. And then this surface here, really, really clean. This is gonna take almost no touch up whatsoever. So I'm just gonna bring over, oh, yeah, there goes the respirator. I'm gonna bring over the sandpaper really fast, just do some quick touches on this. And then we're gonna polish it up, because this is gonna be my last chance to do the interior here. But yeah, it's really nice. I mean, you can even hear it. Yeah, hardly anything grabbing right there. Alrighty. I think that's about as easy as the inside of a box is ever gonna get. Oh, Luke, hey, I really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy that sleep. I know I will shortly. Yeah, so we're in good shape there. Showing it off pretty nicely. We're gonna pop this off. And then we're gonna get to work on the body. So all I want to do here, again, you can tell pretty ugly, right? Even a little bit of a, I don't know if that's a ding or a crack there, but I just want to peel all that off with the spindle gouge. Something that you find about parting tools. Don't leave a great surface. That's not what they're for, though. That's not a finishing tool. All right, let me get the dust collector out of everybody's way here. By the way, if you're here from the shorts feed right now, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button so we get a chance to hang out again. I really appreciate it. I try to do this at least a couple times a week, and then fully produce videos once a month. Brand new, highly produced short every Friday. I just love wood turning. I love sharing it with people. You're in the right spot if you do too. As we tell here, pretty small opening. So what I'm actually going to do, I don't want to take that all the way down with the parting tool. That's just way too far. So I'm going to try to do a lot of that work with the spindle gouge at first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calipers. I'm going to get a measurement here. All right. We'll call that pretty close, I would say. I'm going to lock that in. I'm going to slow my lathe way down. Very important safety point. Don't try to do this if it's cooking along at like 1400 RPM. Get yourself in trouble. Alright. And I would say that's about it. Cool. I'm going to try to remove a lot of that mass with the spindle gouge. There we go. So we're close. I'm just going to make sure that I didn't go over there. I don't see how I could have, but you never know. Oh, that's pretty close. Okay, cool. I don't have to do a ton of work there. Alrighty. Beautiful. Hey, if you're a wood turner and you have like an Instagram or YouTube or something like that, share it in the chat so everybody else can connect with you too. I wanna make sure that we're all seeing each other's work. I think that's most of the fun of this hobby. I was not a big Instagram guy when I started wood turning, and then I started seeing other people's work and I started sharing, and I have made some lifelong friends from some very, very random interactions. So I would encourage you, follow people who are at the same stage as you, follow people who are better than you, ask them questions. That's the fun of the craft. There are thousands of us, always somebody to learn from. I overshot it by like a half mil. It's okay though. This is well within the zone that I like to call the shop towel zone. Every box turner's best friend, right? Shim it up with the shop towel. And yeah, that ought to be good. We'll get a second one going in there if this one doesn't hold, but I think that this one should be fine. All right. I'm going to bring up the live center because I want to remove a lot of material here pretty quickly. Frankly, I just don't want to have to take it that slow since I overshot. So I'm just gonna bring up the old live center. Also, something I wanted to say, I have been producing a video about using AI in craft, but not the dopey way I keep seeing it being used, which is like people ask Midjourney to just make a bowl and it looks like plastic and it kind of sucks. I'm really trying to think hard about how you use it to automate the stuff that is tough about a craft business, right? Like how you have to learn marketing, how you have to learn photography, how you have to wear all these different hats, and it really takes you away from the craft ultimately. And so I'm producing a video. I work in AI in the daytime. I got my real day job. I'm an AI worker. And so I'm trying to show off like some of the stuff that I know so that I can help other craftspeople. If there's something that you don't like doing, or you wish or you think that AI can help you with, drop it in the chat or shoot me a DM, and I can try to cover it in that video. I think that there's an amazing opportunity here for craftspeople to automate a lot of the really boring stuff that makes it tough for them to succeed. And so I'm really just trying to share all of those tools as I can. So yeah, drop a line if you like it. If you have something you feel like you want to know, let me know. Already pretty nice surface on the top. I'm going to swing around so you can see the profile here. Nice. I'll try to show you what we're going for here. That came together without too much of a fuss. That's nice. I'm going to try to take a really light cut back here, mostly because I'm kind of worried about this coming off because it is, after all, secured with the shop towel, right? Not exactly the most secure hold we've ever had. All right, so we'll cut back across the top here. I'm going to try to keep it really, really light and easy so that I can just get to sanding here. We'll see if this thing holds. I have my doubts, but we're still going to go for it. just so we're all clear, that thing that I was just doing, which was holding the piece on the lathe with a finger and then cutting with one hand, don't do that. You're responsible for your own safety. But we got away with it here. So I think I'm going to take this down in here. I think I want to raise the edge here a little bit. This is just looking a little bit plain for me. I want to add just a little bit of an accent. Sort of naturally forming a ring here, but this is kind of in no man's land a little bit. I think I want to sand all this smooth and maybe just get a little bit of a bead going to the outside here. I think that's about as far as I dare push my luck there. Pretty good shavings coming off of this thing so far. Actually, a really clean surface even on the outside, even though I'm pushing into it. So I can tell that gouge is still sharp, still in good shape. I'm going to sand this in place right here if I can, so that I don't have to try to chuck it up some weird way later on with pin jaws or whatnot. And then, yeah, we're going to start working on the bottom. As I work on the bottom, I'm going to refit this occasionally just to make sure that I'm not sort of losing my my proportions. Even as I say that, I almost have half a mind to sort of take this bead down a little bit. I think that'll give me a chance to. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Show you what I mean. So this bead is still very high, right? It's almost the full circumference still. I think I want to tighten this up. I think I want to bring this down just a hair. I know that I'm tempting fate a little bit, but that way I can get a really pronounced curve on this lower piece, almost a little bit more like you would think of with a hollow form. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do really quickly. I'm going to try to take this down a little bit. I don't want to push on this at all, but I want to see if I can get this bead just like a hair smaller, which should give me some more room to operate. So we're going to try it out. 50-50 that this lid comes off. I think that gives me a little bit more room to play. Ooh, a little bit of chatter here. It's always tough with the end grain when you want to get these beads going. There's just so little supporting them. That's always really difficult. Dominique, this is gonna be just a little box. All right, I gotta get a move on. I got 45 minutes to finish this bad boy, and we have Halloween to do. All right, I'm gonna sand this up, and yes, I want you guys back around. Look at these. Look at these slick camera transitions. Huh? No dolly rig, no nothing. Feel that one coming too. Now the good news is we were almost done. Let me see here. There's some silly things that I can do here. Hold on. Hold on. That's enough tempting fate for the evening, I think. Alright. Still a fair amount of wax built up in there. Hold on. Woo. Okay, so one to keep it on, one to scrape wax. None of this is smart. Don't do it at home. Or do. You know what? I'm not your dad. Alright. There we go. And after all that, pretty nice finish, I would say. Nice little glow on there. Cool. Whew. Yeah, Richard, you got it. Container, box, whatever you want to call it. Mostly winds up going for, I don't know, rings. Well, if I'm being honest, some of it goes for plant material, you know, but yeah, mostly rings, trinkets, that kind of stuff. Chris, yeah, that's a blend of carnauba, beeswax, tongue oil, and tripoli. I'm kind of experimenting with the recipe right now, but the idea is other abrasive pastes use mineral oil. So if you want to use the abrasive paste, then you have mineral oil on your piece forever. I'm not really into that. So the idea was to get a drying oil in there that could do some of the heavy lifting. Okay, so now we can do a little bit of shaping on the outside, so I'll probably bring y'all around. I just want to get like a rough profile going here. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, because I still have to do the entire bottom and outside after I hollow it. Thanks, Richard. This is some figured walnut from my buddies over at Cali Hardwoods. They are awesome. They take fabulous care of me. Every couple of months they drive down with a U-Haul full of wood. I get to kind of take my pick. They're phenomenal. CALIHRDOODS. I think I'm spelling that right. Hit them up on Instagram. They ship it everywhere. Partial shaping on the outside, because now I need to do some hollowing. So let me swing y'all back around. It's not a ton of hollowing. This is not a full hollow form, obviously. Yeah, just a little bit of touch-up sanding to do on the outside, but I think we're doing just fine here. What I am excited about is that I got these Laurent Necro mini hollowers. Like, it's literally just teeny tiny little hollowing tools. How cute is that? So I'm really excited to give those a try in just a second here. I'm going to try to do the bulk of it without that, if possible, but we'll see. I'll get a little bit tighter here. Boy, that cut got really dicey out of nowhere for no good reason. Okay. Maybe that's just me pushing my luck a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna raise this a hair. And then I don't think I need to use the straight hollowing tool. I think I can skip straight to the one with the elbow in it, which is kind of fun. I'll show you what these tools look like momentarily. They really are very cute. I mean, seriously, how adorable is this little hollowing tool? Isn't that great? Never used it before. I don't know if it's easy. This may be a catch that destroys everything. I don't know. Also, do me a big favor. If you're here from the Shorts feed, hit that subscribe button so we get a second chance to hang on. I know the Shorts feed is super random. Next thing you see is going to be like somebody gaming. Next thing you see is going to be somebody just like drinking raw eggs or whatever. The internet's a crazy place. I'm just saying, if you're enjoying the content, do both of us a favor. Hit that subscribe button so we get another chance. I try to turn super early mornings and then a couple times a week at night, depending on how early I can get the little ones to bed. Okay. I don't even have a really great idea about the speeds that I should be using for this. I know it's not 1200. I know that for sure. So we're gonna back this down pretty significantly. I'm gonna back this off a little bit so that I wind up with some room. I'm not using a very long handle here, so I'm gonna say we're gonna start just 290. Is that too slow? What do we think, chat? Is 290 too slow? I don't know. Boy, it is just really difficult to say. All right, let's try this out. I don't want to alarm anybody here. I don't want to freak anybody in the chat out right now, but I kind of feel like I'm nailing this right now. I feel like this is going unexpectedly well. Let me get my air gun over here so I can clear some chips. I think that was like the exact right speed. Oh, I think I could maybe push it a little bit. Maybe a little bit harder, but not by much, I wouldn't think. Ooh. That's spicy. All right. my air hose is on like a 20-foot hose that's very far away from me in the shop, and if I let go of it, it just snaps completely to the opposite side of the shop before I can do anything about it. You know, the surface isn't awesome, but like, it's so small. I don't really know what else to do with it. I'm gonna take a couple more passes in here. I'm not gonna go too deep because I do want to pull a little bit of material out of the bottom. Gotta tell you, gang, for a piece this small, that is pretty hollow. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it there. So what I would like to do is I'm gonna soften this angle right in here just a little bit. I can't do it too hard, but I don't want that to be harsh in there. And I'm gonna sand inside, outside, top of the bead, flip it around onto my pin jaws, which I will expand, finish the bottom. Fingers crossed. I think we might actually get a piece out of this. So that corner is where things start to stack up a little bit. I may actually just throw a little bit of oil in there as well. I don't know, maybe after I finish everything else. I'm gonna seal the outside with wax and then I'm gonna oil it, I think. Hit that subscribe button if you like hearing somebody mentally talk themselves through a project that they didn't really think through when they should have. Okay, do a little bit of sanding really quickly. Yeah, the part that always, I mean, the good news with this one is I can feel it right here. Like, I know I have plenty of mass on the bottom, but when they get really, really big, it's tough. You have to stop and measure. The finger calipers can be sufficient, but once you start getting it, 10, 12, 14, 16 inches deep, you just have to use other tools. That's just how it is. That's physics. Oh, please come back. Oh no. When did I drop? No. Oh, that's a shame. I was just showing off my super sweet new magnetic vacuum attachments. That's what I get for nerding it about vacuums. The internet itself told me that I should knock it off. All right, here we go. Cool. That's as tight as I dare go. Cool. See if we got close to concentric. That's not bad. Beautiful. Oh, that's a shame that it died then. We were just having some fun. All right, here we go. here on the very final reveal. Do me a huge favor. If you love wood turning, if you love craft, if you enjoyed yourself here tonight, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel out a ton, gives us another chance to hang out, get ready, and watch this finish come to life. I'll give it a little bit of a buff with the clean section. See how she turned out. Oh, yeah, I think that'll do, huh? Some beautiful figure in here. Yeah, I'm gonna take it off so we can see the entire piece assembled. Hold on. All right. Woo. All right. So. There's the little one. Hold on, I'm gonna get you right at eye level with it. There we go, come on. So we can see the entire thing all together. Sorry for the shakies, but I promise this one's gonna be worth it. All right, there we go. Love it. And then, here we go with her little hat. How cute, gang. I mean, right? What a cute little piece, huh? And it's hollow on the inside. Cute, teeny, tiny little foot. Little accent inside the lid. There you go. Look, if that's not worth a sub, I'm not sure what is. Thank you all very much for being here. My name is Brad. I try to do this a couple times a week. Y'all are the best. Thanks for sharing your night with me. Catch you on the next one.